Hi Pisces, thank you for joining me and welcome to my channel. This is a reading for the full moon that's happening in Aquarius on the 23rd of July. So I'm excited to be here with you guys to go through and explain some of this. I'm going to throw these dice first to see an overview of the energy. So we have two jacks. Two jacks to me signify some kind of beginning that is motivated around social things such as interactions with other people. We'll see where that goes, but it's definitely a start or some type of communication. We have a robot. So this could be a technical matter or something to do with your skill set or maybe something to do with computers. We'll see in a minute. And then we have the 10, which is not suited. So these are just the positions like the court cards and the 9, 10, and the ace. So we have the 10 here and the south node, which is in Sagittarius at this time. And it's in your 10th house. So let's see what that kind of could mean for you in the full moon. So here's the south node in your 10th house. Instinctively, I feel as though this is where to start. There's something released in your world. I think many of you are letting go of something in the world around you. Some aspect of your life that doesn't work well for you that you've been accepting, you're going to release. This could be a job. This could be the way you structure your life, who you interact with. I think you're turning back on things that have to do with the past, such as maybe your father wanted you to be an accountant, so you became an accountant, and now you're going in a different direction to express who you truly are. So there's a release that's going on for Pisces with your position in society, in the world, and I think many of you are turning your back on the things that were inaccurate about you and things that you've accepted and now going a different direction. These are some really beautiful transits. The full moon is happening in your 12th house. And so this is in the subconscious. Traditionally, you are the ruler of the 12th house. But in your chart, Aquarius is ruling your 12th house. This full moon comes in a pair. So there's, when they say blue moon, right? They often mean a blue moon meaning two full moons in 1 month, which is not so astrologically significant because it's just the way that the lunar calendar is imposed on the solar calendar we use, right? But this event, 2 full moons on either side of Aquarius, now that's more resonant than this blue moon idea. So it's a very, very significant activation of Aquarian energy. And furthermore to this, Jupiter will enter into Aquarius 5 days after the full moon on July 28th for the rest of the year. So many of you are turning inwards, probably working on some things from the dice roll and getting prepared for a massive transformation next year when Jupiter re-enters your first house. That's technically going to be later this year in December 2021. So these 2 full moons are happening in your 12th house. Saturn, which is the ruler of Aquarius, the traditional ruler, is in rulership, in retrograde, in your 12th house. So there's a real grounding energy here. It's introspective, but a lot of it has resonance with the subconscious in the 12th house. So don't expect necessarily to have, you will have a strong internal experience. You will definitely have this introspective process. But in the 12th house, a lot of things can happen in the subconscious here. So it's very much akin to like an Alice in Wonderland sort of scenario where things are happening and they're sort of disordered or sort of not very clear and evident as to what's going on, and then later on you will see the consequences. So in other words, don't try to problem solve things so much with this transit. Allow things to happen and observe them as they happen, like a TV show. And if you have dreams, be like, oh, that's interesting, and so forth. But it's not a transit in which you're meant to do some psychoanalysis necessarily. You could do it for fun. Also, really good house for past life work, right? Or anything to do with things that we don't consciously remember. And so this full moon is at 1 degrees Aquarius. It's happening on the 23rd of July. The second full moon is at 29 degrees Aquarius, and it's happening on August 22nd. It's a pretty significant activation for Aquarian energy. So we're shifting back into the rational mind. We're shifting back into systems and process. And those sorts of things are happening all around us. This would be an Aquarian energy picture, I guess. The 11th house, which is traditionally Aquarian house, rules technology also. Okay, so there's other transits that are alongside of this, but I'm going to do a collective reading for that, and I'm not sure I need to do that here with you. So I thought I would just highlight some of the things in your chart that stand out during this time that's significant for you. So the most significant transit that's happening alongside this full moon is the transit of Mars and Venus into Virgo through and around that time. And through that time will form an opposition to Jupiter at 0 degrees Pisces. Okay, so these are very significant transits that will focus a lot for you on your partnerships. So if you're wondering about love, and if you're wondering about your relationship, this is going to be an accelerated growth period for you and your partner, and love between the two of you. So be excited about that. Although with Jupiter on the other side of things, I feel like maybe very lucky things could happen for Pisces people, Sun, Moon, and Rising, in their partnership areas of their life. There is a transit. I try to save the transits that are more problematic to the end. Before I do, I also want to highlight for you guys another beautiful transit that's happening right now, and that's Neptune trine to Mercury. And that will be very strong from the full moon through the whole weekend. And for you, this is going to make you more open to doing unorthodox things, approaching things from a different perspective, being open to adventure, being open to trying new things for fun. So if someone invites you out, go have fun, go have that adventure. So there are certain transits, that are happening that could be not the best or more challenging energies. I tried to save them to another section, so you can jump through to the tarot reading if you're not interested, in that. But I just want to highlight that Jupiter is in opposition to Venus and Mars. This could feel as though what's good for you is not necessarily good for your love or your relationship with someone else. Be patient with this transit because it's really fast. So, something could present itself that essentially that feeling that it's what's good for you is not necessarily good for your partner will last a week, and then you'll find a better solution to that. So you don't necessarily need to act on anything here. And so, in other words, just observe what's coming up and then address it when the transit is a bit better. The other aspect that's kind of disharmonious to Jupiter at 0 degrees Pisces is Lilith, which is not in this chart, at 0 degrees of Gemini in your 4th house. This again could be you asserting yourself in some way and coming into friction with people around your house and home. So be careful with that, and be careful of the things that you say around the house and home to other people. It may not be true to what you truly want with them. It might misrepresent you, or it may misrepresent your intentions. And so it would be like a futility to argue with people at home. So I thought I would do my traditional tarot reading, my classic tarot reading for you guys. We can find out what these mean a little bit more. I think that overall you're moving into, astrologically, into a space of renegotiating things and getting ready for the transit in December when Jupiter re-enters Pisces. So for the last 2 months while Jupiter was in Pisces, you observe certain things about your life that really made sense. You're like, ooh, I really like that. I really want more of this experience. This is the life I want. This is the experience I want. And then while Jupiter was in Pisces, when Jupiter re-enters Pisces, you will have an opportunity to get those things more and emphasize that, and luck will be once again in your favor in this direction. But in the meantime, maybe take the things that you've learned over the last 2 months and apply them to your life to get ready for this transit in December. So you have like 4 or 5 months to get ready for this transit. So in other words, if you like a particular thing, then maybe do everything you can to be prepared for it when luck enters your first house again. Okay, so let's see your tarot cards. And I'm happy because it's cooled down here. It's very hot here, but we have some clouds over the next 2 days, and that's a blessing. So we have the Queen of Swords, Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra. Water sign also Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. I would take that as probably your card. We'll talk about that in a minute. We have the Strength card, which is Leo. All of the associations in my readings for the court cards and other placements, they are not necessarily the gender of the card or the astrological placements I mentioned. Those are just little pieces of information to give us insight. We have the Four of Swords next, okay? And we have the Seven of Wands. That's another Leo card right there. Then we have the Temperance Sagittarius card. You have so much fire in your chart right now, or in your reading. Eight of Cups, walking away from some things. What did we say the first thing was? Walking away for something in your public life or amid other people. The Queen of Swords is also about walking away. Then we have the Three of Pentacles, really focused on work. Yeah, it definitely feels as though work things are getting worked on at this time and worked through in some way. Moving on from places in which you're not celebrated and in which are not reflective of where you are in life, and moving towards places where you will receive the kind of recognition or rewards that are suitable to you. Then you have the Two of Wands and the Ten of Swords, Sun in Gemini, and the Queen of Cups, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio as the outcome. This could be you also. I think you're walking away from a place right away. It screams at me. You're walking away from a place in which you've had to be very tough and very sort of like on guard with things. Watch your words and be very specific. You've had to be in a place where there's not much room for error. So if you make a mistake, then you know it's your neck. So you're walking away from places like this. And I think on an emotional level, you've already begun doing this. Let me show you this before so I can just get into the reading for you a bit more. This is the Five of Pentacles card. So basically you're walking away from a space in which was devoid of meaningful human support and dynamics. Meaning it could have been hyper competitive, or you could have been around people who were just not on the same page as you, or the environment itself was cold and required from you a very guarded way of approaching it, right? And I think that that's a very bad place for a Pisces. It's bad for everyone, but certain people just are not designed for that type of environment. And so finally, this is your time to move on. And the outcome is that you're going to be stepping into an environment where your emotions are expressed and where you will be able to show of yourself, your whole persona. You're not going to be no longer in this rigid and having to in some way control your environment or control how you express things for fear of it's just a lack of understanding or a lack of your resonance in the space that you're in. It's not your place wherever you're at. And so I feel like you're like a fish out of water sort of thing. You may be doing well. In fact, I'm picking up on the fact that you're doing well in this space, but I think that it's a drain on you, and I see that emotionally you've already left in some way, and you already are experiencing the reprieve from that, the rest from that. You're feeling better for moving on. So these jacks to me represent, in my opinion, your exploration of new paths and new directions. And I feel like you feel that this is your calling. You feel purpose with that. You feel this new direction that you're heading into, even if you don't know what's over there yet. I think that you feel very called towards it. You feel a lot of passion. The sun is in Leo, Mars is in Leo at this time. And so you're quickly being drawn towards something. The Eight of Cups is suggesting that many of you may not be seeing the full picture of what that is yet, or you're yet still to create that and manifest that. But it's a closure of your attachment to something in the past so that you can move forward in the future towards something in which you are representing yourself. The thing is, we can survive in environments in which we're disingenuous, where we misrepresent who we are because we play a role, like a puppet, right? But it's oftentimes in those environments where we will not thrive to the extent that we could if we were in a place or a space in which we show truly who we are. And so when we are doing a job that is fully expressive of our inner self, our inner workings, there's going to be much more success in the direction you're going. It just might take time. But I see here that there is already mastery to some level to the thing you're carrying over in this new direction. So I do feel like it's not like you're moving into a completely new field of work or identity and taking on new skill sets you've never participated in before. I feel like you're very much doing something meaningful and something you know well, something that your references, reputation, or your CV, your kind of example of your work, your portfolio, have got you into. So I think that there's, like, especially for those of you working in a creative capacity, I can almost see like a portfolio in some way showing the extent of your work. So like the work speaks for itself, sort of thing. It's funny, in the arts and in tech, very high skilled occupations, many people that have difficult personalities, and I'm not saying you're one, they can work. There's lots of great dictators. There's lots of directors that are great, artists who are known for their bad personality, which is probably more of a rigid, strong personality that people label as bad because they're offended by it in some way. But there's many people who have difficult personalities who work in high skill industries who get away with it just because the quality of their work is good. And so I'm not saying you're in the boat of having a bad personality, but if you're worried about where you're going based on like whether your skill sets match up to this destination or whether you'll be accepted, I think that it's your skill sets that are sort of your precedent. They're taking you in this direction and they're assuring for you success. There could be a Sagittarius around you at this time, or a slow progress between yourself and another friend. I feel as though your friend's looking in a different direction and you're sort of looking after them. There could be someone around you who I feel as though this could be a relationship, and this person at this time is looking in a different direction. They're focused on something else. And there's something between the two of you. There's doubt that this relationship can continue, that it's going to be positive. At Ten of Swords, this is an apprehension or fear. This is not saying that this is what's going to happen. And I see you as actually essentially walking away from the whole situation. And it's true that this person can ultimately turn around and, come back towards you with positive energy. But I think I see you right now as looking after someone who's looking in the opposite direction for where their life is going. So I think you're choosing the path of redirection at this time. I think you're choosing the path of going in a different direction. And I think the Queen of Swords is a big indicator of separation and divorce. This does not mean for only marriages. This can mean for jobs, your friendships. I just think that and I sense the relief. I think carrying the things you're releasing are causing you distress, or they're weighing you down in some way. And as you are releasing them, there's a relief, because the relationship, because of the changes in one or both people, has become inauthentic to where you are now. And so I think going in this new direction is going to be, it's inspired, at least it's from your point of inspiration, or you have some meaning behind where you're going. Whereas before, I think this is the robot again. You were having this sort of mechanical interaction with things. And I think that that's a really tough place for a Pisces to be, where it's kind of like an empty hall with nothing else. It's not fulfilling. And I think that maybe a big part of that, like I said, was a lack of support from other people, a lack of community, or a lack of validation from others around you. There was like an emptiness there. And so I think that's your cue to go. I think that's your cue to move towards places where you can be the beautiful Pisces you are and attract the right types of people. This is also a signifier or suggestion that there's someone coming into your life, very likely a friend through a job, who has a similar frequency to you. So this could be your activator point, like a person who's coming in with a very like coming in with love and the types of frequencies you resonate with, because it feels as though you're dealing with a very turned off emotions at this time. And that's okay for a time, but Pisces, they need, I think that's where you shine. So having your emotions turned off for a long time doesn't necessarily work well for you, and I think it's just tiresome, and I think it's time for a change. So you will be finding environments in which you have emotional, resonance. There's emotional resonance there. And I think you're experiencing, probably on many levels, this feeling of emotional isolation, even with the people that are in your life. They're just not giving to you emotionally in the way that you would like to have your life, and so forth. So you're rejecting that, which is a good thing, and you're moving towards like a more emotionally resonant place. And astrologically speaking, this is very on point, because what are we looking at? The North Node is in Gemini in your 4th house of home, and what is most emotionally resonant but our dwellings or homes and people in them. So in some way, this does not mean that you're going to be more in the home. It just means that you're moving towards a place that will feel more filled with human emotions and humanity. Okay? Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you have a very nice full moon. I'll be back with more videos soon, and I talk to you soon. Thank you for being here. Bye.